On this episode of Where's the Line, we're going to break down UNLV versus Vanderbilt, and then we're going to get into the big one, Tennessee-Florida, some gambling picks at the end. This is episode number 97. Let's get into it.
You are now listening to the Where's the Line podcast with Joseph West and Britt Dillard. Enjoy the show.
Milton gonna take a shot wide open and just strutting in is Keaton. Joe Milton does it again.
Orgy again on a blitz. Levis pocket collapses. He's on the run. He just heaves it up. And it's intercepted by Vanderbilt. And let the celebration begin. The streak is over at 26. The Commodores win it.
Talk about Vanderbilt football. All I gotta say, and you're going to hell. Bye.
Another edition of Where's the Line. It is Wednesday, September 13th. This is episode number 97. Britt Dillard. I'm joined here by Joseph West and friend of the pod, Jordan Craighead. How you boys doing today?
I'm doing great. We've got special guest Craighead. Craighead, how you doing, bro?
Fantastic. Gator Hate Week.
That's
Gator
right.
Hate Week. We getting started right. Britt, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. I'm good. I'm alive. That's it.
That's right. We here. Got some good matchups across college football this week. I think there's going to be a lot of good games. Starting out, we're going to go get straight up into it. We got Vanderbilt in Vegas this weekend, taking on UNLV. Coming off a really disappointing loss, 36-20 against Wake Forest. Britt, have you had time to dive in? I know what the answer is. And early thoughts.
No, I have not dove in.
Let's go silent.
And no, I have no thoughts.
This man
How
has
about
no
that?
thoughts. We're not surprised. He graduated
How
from
about that?
Gordonsville. Let's go across the river here, see if he has any thoughts. Craighead, got any thoughts? Early thoughts?
I do. If Vandy don't win by a lot, it's a disgrace.
If Vandy don't
Which
win
one
by
is
a
it?
lot, it's a disgrace.
I feel that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I'm not gonna lie.
I can
My
get
early
into that
thought
later.
is, what'd you say?
I can get into that later.
Yeah, okay. We will most definitely get into why Jordan thinks it's disappointing or embarrassing or whatever word he used. If Vanderbilt doesn't blow them out. My early thoughts is that I don't know what to think about this game. I don't know what to think about this Vanderbilt team. The team that I saw parts of and read a lot about in the fall. You haven't seen that team. So it's hard to say. I think that 4.5, 5 point spread is probably about right. Honestly, from what you've seen from Vanderbilt so far, and after having a really disappointing and just downright terrible loss at Wake Forest. So getting right into it, UNLV, they played their first game against Bryant. They played their second game against Michigan. In their first game against Bryant, they won 44-14. But their quarterback went 11 for 18 with 86 yards and a pick, no touchdowns. They did not throw the ball. Their defense played well, and they had success rushing the football. All of their touchdowns coming on the ground. Davis had one. Brumfield had one. Jay Thomas had 8 carries, 60 yards, 2 tutties. And then Lester had 8 carries, 29 yards, and a tutty. So they did all of their work on the ground against Bryant. I think even though Vanderbilt gave up a lot of yards against the run, I still feel better about about the teams running it against us than passing. Not necessarily that saying that's even a good thing. Our secondary is just that bad. And then when they played Michigan, they lost 35-7. They scored their touchdown in garbage time late in the fourth. Against Michigan, they had their starting quarterback went 10 for 19 with 100 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, and the backup went 5 for 7 with 68 yards. They haven't had much success throwing the football. I think when you look at that side of UNLV, you have to like this matchup for Vanderbilt. By design, we dropped 8 guys into coverage against Wake Forest. I don't think that happens, obviously, against UNLV. We're not scared of their passing attack. I think we can shut down their run game. Maybe I'm still too hype on this Vanderbilt front seven. But this is the game to me where you find out if Vanderbilt, who they are. Like, you lost a game. You haven't played good all season. You finally lost a game when you played bad. And you get to see how are they going to bounce back. They're playing not a totally scrub UNLV team, a team that can beat you, a team coached by an old SEC coach in Barry Odom. So, we'll see. J.J. McCarthy had his way, 22 of 25 for 278 yards passing and 2 tutties. So I think that looks good for A.J. Swan. Obviously, we don't have Michigan's O-line or anything, but still, I think A.J. Swan could have a good game through the air. Their defensive line looks like we should be able to bully them when I start breaking down that side. But Jordan, talk to me. That's enough of me rambling. I'll get into my keys. I just want to hear your thoughts here.
I have a lot of similar thoughts to what you have outside of it should be close. When you look at the stats, I mean, their defense is giving up 451 yards per game, mostly coming off the passing game, which is a good thing for Vandy with Will Shepherd on the outside. And then 179 yards rushing. I think that favors Vanderbilt. I mean, y'all haven't played Michigan, you played Wake Forest, but you got 3 games in. I think you've seen improvement in the offensive line. Granted, from game 1 to this will be game 3. I mean, the bar was pretty low coming out of the gate, but now I feel like they've got potential to gain some momentum. And you hit on talent a little bit. I disagree with you there. I think the talent's very different. When I looked at the composite rankings for the team, Vandy was 58th. UNLV was 119th.
He's using my composite ranking stat. I like it.
Yeah, how does that feel, Joseph?
so that's pretty lopsided. It's an SEC team. Now they are coached by Barry Odom, who was in the SEC. So I think Vandy should win handily. And I had written down Vandy minus 4.5. Shameful. I think it should be probably 2 touchdowns. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm on par with Jordan here. I think just Vanderbilt will be able to handle the line of scrimmage pretty easily. And I didn't know that Barry Odom was there. Barry Odom's a good coach.
He is a good coach.
Despite what he was at Missouri, he is a pretty good football coach. But the spread, I mean, it opened at was it 2.5? It opened at, Joseph?
Yeah, that's 2.5.
That's Vanderbilt is a lot better team than 2.5 against UNLV. So I don't know. I'm sure you got in on that 2.5, Joseph.
I did, sadly.
Okay.
I got in on the 2.5. I'm tired of betting Vanderbilt after they cost me almost $1,000 last week, like $900 and something if they just covered 14.5 and 10.5. I hit all of my parlays last week. So that kind of pissed me off that I had to get in at 2.5. But this just goes to show you, like I say, Vegas has tall buildings and they have them for a reason. But Vegas doesn't know Vanderbilt. They just don't. Like I think we covered 8 out of 12 spreads last year. Vanderbilt, I did really good betting on Vanderbilt last year. I think I missed 2 games, 2 covers. I believe that was Tennessee and Wake Forest. I missed both of those covers last year. Outside of that, I don't remember missing one. It's just they just don't know. I think they are sleeping on Vanderbilt is the point I guess I'm trying to make. But Vanderbilt hasn't played good football yet, so it's hard to say that they are wrong about Vanderbilt because you haven't showed that they're the team that I think that they are. So, that part sucks. But getting into my keys to the game, trying to wrap this up here. I know we still got a lot of football to talk about. Key number one for me is get comfortable, get consistent. I want to see Swan. Swan is always cool in the pocket, first of all. I'm not saying that to hate on him. He is 19 years old. He's always calm and collected. He's leading the offense. He's calling audibles at the line of scrimmage. This guy always looks in charge. Even when he does something stupid, he looked calm while doing it. I think that puts you in a great spot for the future. But for the rest of the team, get consistent. And even for Swan, he did throw 2 picks last week. Get consistent, stay consistent. I want to see 4 quarters of football, well-oiled machine. Just go out there and be the team that I thought you were going to be. There's that. Don't beat yourself. Not complicated. Don't turn the ball over. So just get calm, get comfortable, stay consistent. Key number 2, simple. Coaches. Coach. Not hard, right? I think that's pretty simple. Coaches, coach. Don't be stupid. If it's 4th and 1, freaking QB sneak. You don't have to do anything crazy. If it's 4th down and 1 at the 50, go for it. Just have some nuts. Have common sense. Coaches, coach. There's key number 2. You're welcome. Key number 3, beat the hell out of them. I want to see you kill them. I want to see them dead. I want to see them laying on the ground crying. Okay? I just want to see them hurt. I will be there. You let me down after I drove 7 hours last week. Don't let it happen again. There's the keys to the game. Here's what's happening. Score prediction. Doors 38, UNLV 24. Doors win by 14. That's my score prediction. And there's the keys.
I like it. Yeah, this is Vanderbilt. I don't want to say it's their last one they feel really, really good about, but I think this is one that a lot of people circled as just an automatic win for Vanderbilt. I would say pretty much everybody has said that going into the year. So those are ones that you definitely need to win, even though you may not look as good as expected. This is a team that Vanderbilt should handle pretty easily.
Yeah, I would also like to say about my prediction, I did say 38-24, but I think this game was pretty close, and Vanderbilt seals it late with a tutty. So I think the score says 38-24, but the game's a little bit closer than the score.
Cool.
Jordan, let's hear those keys, if you got some.
I do. I think I'm going to save my best one for last. I think it's going to get you fired up, Joseph.
And I'm glad
Okay,
you're
let's
here,
go.
Jordan.
Key number 2, which will now be number 1, offensive line. Continue to show progress. It's a now mad front 7. It's an opportunity to dominate, set the tone, and then lead to a successful passing game. That's where it starts. Second key, let Swan be a gunslinger. You got the weapons on the outside that have proven they can go up and make plays in the red zone, down the field. They've actually got some speed. So let Swan do his thing. Then my last key, we'll put Joey Lynch and Nick Howell on notice because I'm tired of hearing about how they need to step up from Joseph West and Johnny West. I was in the building for the Ohio game. I'm tired of hearing it. So do something, please.
Listen, just stop being freaking brain dead, Joey and Nick, you bunch of bums. Nick Howell's out here sending blitzes from the far side of the field like we got Alabama's roster. He's an idiot. Nick Howell and Joey Lynch, you're both lucky you have a job because Clark Lee likes you as men, but he better cut it out before it costs him his own job. Jordan, give me the score prediction.
I want to add somebody to that. B.J. Armstrong. Do something.
Anderson.
Oh, Anderson, whatever it is.
That's
He don't
okay.
deserve to get his name
I don't
wrong.
even care that you got his name wrong. Dude's a bum. We shouldn't even know
Yeah,
his name.
screw that guy.
Yeah. He didn't deserve
Dude's an
to have his
absolute
right name.
bum.
Score, though, 42-24.
Okay. All right. He goes a little bit higher than me. I like that, Jordan. I like that a lot. So we got 2 big dubs, 38-24 from me, 42-24 from Jordan. So there it is. Britt, would you like to throw in a score prediction? Just
No,
get one
I'm
in
not
here?
I'm not predicting anything this week.
Okay, Britt's predicting nothing this week except for his bets, I suppose.
I'm boycotting predicting.
Okay, got it. So let's get right into it. Huge game this week, rivalry game. Florida versus Tennessee in the Swamp. It's a night game. Atmosphere is going to be awesome. You look at this game, you say Tennessee hasn't won in the Swamp since 2003. Somebody correct me on that if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
2003. I was 3 years old when, assuming that game was played in after September 11th. So I was 3 years old, and obviously I don't remember that. Brett has not seen the Vols win in the Swamp. Craighead was 8, so I suppose he could have been watching that game. But theoretically, none of us has seen the Vols win in the Swamp. Brett, are we going to get to see it in, brother? Tell us why.
Yeah, I think we will. I mean, since the dawn of time, and by the dawn of time I mean like the 90s. Tennessee-Florida has been the measuring stick for both teams. For Tennessee, this is your first game of the season. This is every year this is where you see where you're at. And historically, obviously, Florida has been not the better team, but they've come out on top of this matchup. I don't have any stats. I know Jordan. I'm glad Jordan's here. Jordan's going to come with the stats. He's going to come with the trends and the numbers and stuff like that.
Britt said no stats, just vibes. That's what he said. No stats, just vibes.
There's no need for stats, and here's why. Tennessee's going to win Saturday, and this is like I'm 85% confident in that. I think Florida is kind of sucky. I think they kind of stink. I think Tennessee has a better team, a better coach. I mean, Sunbelt Billy is kind of a known idiot, but Florida's just not good. Florida's a shell of himself, and even though Tennessee hasn't looked fantastic this year, I think it's going to be a pretty easy win. For the simple reason that Tennessee has Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright is the best player on the field offensively, and Aaron Beasley is the best player on the field defensively. And Florida doesn't have a single position on the field that is better than Tennessee.
Yeah, their wide receiver one's better.
It sure as hell ain't quarterback.
Their wide receiver one is better than yours. Percival is better than
mute your mic. Mute your mic.
No,
that's the dumbest
that's
thing.
Crazy.
That's the dumbest
Keaton,
thing. Hey, I didn't say a word when you were talking about Vanderbilt.
I don't care.
Dude,
this is crazy.
That's the dumbest thing that's ever been said on this podcast.
No,
do I want Pearsall? Dude, are you gonna bring information, or are you just gonna say that's crazy? That's crazy.
Okay, you want me to get the stats out?
If you think Pearsall is better than Brew McCoy, you have lost your damn mind. Pearsall could not hold Brew McCoy's jockstrap.
That's crazy.
This is what you do. You throw me off guard. You make me mad. In this game, all Joe Milton has to do in this game is not lose. All he has to do is show up. If he plays like he did against Virginia, Tennessee wins. He doesn't even have to be good. Give me a B- Joe Milton game, and Tennessee wins easily. And if Joe Milton goes in, you're done. Mute your mic. If Joe Milton does that, he will forever be known. No, I didn't. He will forever be known as the man who broke the streak in Florida at the Swamp. And that is what's going to happen on Saturday.
First of all, I thought
Pearsall's numbers are against Utah and Kent State or whoever the hell McNeese State they played last week.
I thought that I was going to come on this podcast and agree fully with two Tennessee fans. It turns out that one of them is dumber than I originally thought. So, with that being said, I brought the stats, and
I don't give a damn what stats you pull up on your phone.
Now.
Okay,
let's
talk about stats. Is A.J. Swann the best quarterback in the SEC? Because he has the most passing yards. Is he the best quarterback in the conference?
He's played more games, though. If you go to 2 games, that's not how numbers work. You can't take 3 to 2. You can't take 3 to 2, though.
You want to only play 2 games. Let's talk about it.
All right, so Ricky, as I was saying, Ricky Purcell, 14 receptions, 215 yards, and a tutty.
You don't even know his damn
Pearsall,
name.
I'm
You're
sorry.
going to say he's better than
Pearsall.
Brew McCoy. You don't even know his name.
14 receptions, 215 yards, and a tutty. Brew McCoy, 7 receptions, 77 yards. So as of now, in the same 2 games, the sample size is not different like Britt was trying to make it out to be. They both played 2 games.
You're an
And
idiot.
listen, at the end of the day, wide receiver is hard to argue because of targets and quarterback usage. However, I think however you say his name, I'll call him Ricky since Britt is my English teacher now. Mr. Ricky here, I think he is the better wide receiver. He has a
No.
much smaller frame, but he is a better college wide receiver.
It's the dumbest
Makes
thing that's ever been said on this podcast. It's the dumbest thing
that
that's ever been
that
said. He is
that's
Florida's
interesting.
only weapon other than ETN, the running back. Tennessee has 4 receivers that are just as good as Ricky Pearsall.
They might be
Maybe
just
more.
good. They're not
We may
better.
stretch it out to
They're
6
not
or
better.
7. Yes, they are.
Now, however, I might argue that Squirrel White is the best wide receiver on Tennessee's team as far as like a total, well, drop problems. So maybe not. But still, small sample size for him. Not the point. The point is getting into my actual breakdown of this game. I know Jordan will come with some stats too. I think there's a few matchups you have to watch in this game, particularly being on Tennessee's defense because I heard actually a guy today who came into my place of work, came in and was talking about Tennessee's defense taking a huge step forward. And I said to him, I don't know if they have. We'll find out on Saturday. Tennessee secondary versus Graham Mertz decides this game, in my personal opinion. If Tennessee secondary has taken a step forward and can stop Florida's passing attack, then I think I think the Vols will win this game pretty handily. If they don't, I think you see a close game, and if it's close, I like Florida. 10 out of 10 times in the swamp, and because of the streak, that's just how it is. So if it's close, I like Florida. I just don't know how confident I am in Florida's wide receivers creating separation. Not even because I do think Tennessee secondary has taken a step forward, but also because Florida's wide receivers also just aren't that good outside of Ricky. So the rest of them pretty much are trash.
Yeah, you said passing attack. I would not call it an attack at all.
Yeah, well,
not good.
I mean,
they're not good.
Maybe not good. I mean, Graham Mertz still threw for a ton of yards against Utah, even in the loss. And I mean, I know some of it was in what some people may consider garbage time, but it wasn't a complete blowout. The starting defense still played. So Graham Mertz had a good game against Utah, had another good one against McNeese State, which I'm not saying means anything. But that's where I'm looking to start the game off. I'm looking towards the way of Graham Mertz and UT secondary. Jordan?
Yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
All right. One thing that surprised me when I started looking at some stats. For Florida, they're the 3rd-ranked defense in the country. Granted, that's inflated by playing McNeese State and 2 backup quarterbacks for Utah. Tennessee has 29th ranked defense. I do think they've taken quite the step from last year to this year. The depth, just in the front 7. We roll guys. We get after the quarterback. We kind of control the line of scrimmage, and that's how you win in the SEC. Team talent rankings. I mentioned that for Vandy-UNLV. This one also shocked me. UT 16th, Florida 15th. It's a wild stat. It's hard to believe just by watching how Florida's played and how they ended last year and knowing that the recruiting class that came in wasn't that good. And like Joseph mentioned, it's been 20 years since we won the Swamp. I was in the 3rd grade. I wasn't even watching. I was learning how to write in cursive.
Let's go.
It's time. Time to go down there and do it. I think a couple guys to watch out for Florida. First of all, mentioned him. I think he can hurt you if our DBs have a bad day. And then Eugene Wilson, the 3rd. He's a shifty wide receiver. If he gets the ball, I'm not that confident in our safety secondary making the tackle. I think Tennessee go down there and win. Joe's got to take care of himself, get out of his head, and be Joe, be who we saw last year.
Yeah, and I think I said it earlier. I don't think Joe Milton has to go out and do anything crazy. I think this game is going to be largely decided by the line of scrimmage. I don't know if Florida is going to be able to stop Tennessee running the ball. Got to clean up. We got to be able to catch the ball this week. We have to play our best game so far, I think, to be able to cover the spread. But I'm at 85%. I don't think Florida is a good team. That's what I keep going back to. Like, I know it's Florida, and I know that I haven't been this confident, but I felt like we were going to beat Florida. Out of the last 6 years, probably 4 times. And that's just usually not the case. But even knowing that, I'm confident in this game. I think Tennessee's going to pull it out.
I think Tennessee definitely could pull it off. I'm in the same boat for like Tennessee, Florida, in the swamp that I am Vanderbilt, South Carolina, in Nashville or in South Carolina. I don't care if Florida trots out 22 guys from YMCA. If they're playing in the swamp against UT, they got a chance to win. And that's the same. I feel the same way about South Carolina and Vanderbilt. They could trot out 22 dudes from YMCA, and we could trot out Peyton Manning, Reggie White, Calvin Johnson, and we'd still find a way to lose. But I'm not near as confident as Britt as far as the win, or I don't like the spread at all. It's just I don't know how much you know about UT. Same thing I guess I'll say about Vanderbilt. I just don't know how much you know about them right now. Milton doesn't have to play amazing, but he does have to play good. And I don't know if you've seen that from him yet outside of the Clemson game last year. And can he put it together in a tough environment and when it matters? I don't know. That's what I question.
I mean, that's a completely valid question. But I think if Joe Milton, even against Austin Peay, I think if the receivers catch the ball they should catch, I think if Joe Milton even has that kind of performance, they can beat Florida. And I mean, Ricky Pearsall, I mean, he hurt Tennessee last year. So I'm not gonna, maybe I'll backtrack a little bit, but he's not better than Ricky Pearsall wouldn't start on this Tennessee team. I'll say that.
That's interesting.
He would
really,
and I'm not
really?
like I don't have anything against the guy, but he wouldn't. There's no room for him. He wouldn't play.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not Tennessee's offense because they're going to pick Squirrel White speed in the slot over Pearsall.
But I'm smart enough not to predict this game. I'm not touching it.
After you said Tennessee was going to win.
I'm not putting out a score prediction. That's stupid. I'm not doing it.
Keys to the game. Jordan, you want to start us off? Got keys? Give us some keys, man.
I got you. Make Graham Mertz beat you. He is who he is at this point. He's played a lot of college football games, a lot of Wisconsin. We've seen him in 2 games so far at Florida. He's still the same guy he was that he was at Wisconsin. So make him beat you. Second key, front 7, remain dominant. So far, you've got 11 sacks, 25 tackles for loss. Utah got 5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss against Florida. I don't see why we can't do that. I'm not saying our defense is as good as Utah's defense because I don't think we are. We're not there yet. But they obviously have offensive line issues. Third one, wide receivers, catch the dang ball. Like, you had so many hit your hands against Austin Peay, and it's Austin Peay. You got away with it. This weekend, you're in the swamp at night. It's not going to be an easy environment to play in. Catch the ball, make it easy on yourself, get some momentum built to kind of steamroll them. Then the last key, Joe Milton versus Joe Milton. Get out of your own head, bro. When the lights come on, perform. You got to believe it.
Great job, my friend. I feel like Lee Corso. Great job, my friend. Good job. Those are good keys. Good keys. For me, I think it comes down to, and I've said that about every statement I've made. I said it comes down to this. Graham Mertz if you're Florida, you're looking for a transfer quarterback. This is the guy you go get. You go get the guy that sucked at Wisconsin. Newsflash, he still sucks. Sunbelt Billy, we need you to strike again Saturday. I don't expect this to be a blowout either way. But I'm ready. I'm ready. There's no reason to break down. There's no reason to stress about Tennessee, Florida, because you have no clue what the crap's going to happen. You have no clue what's going to happen.
That it, Brett?
That's it.
Okay. My key number one. Key number one of this game for me is Tennessee secondary. Jordan says make Mertz beat you, and I agree. First of all, Florida didn't have a lot of success running the ball against Utah, and they had more success last week. I'm in the same boat about their running game. I don't know if they're going to be able to create, holes in the run game. They could not. So I think it does come down to UT secondary. Key number two for Tennessee's defense, I'm sorry, is control the explosive play. Don't let Travis Etienne get out in space, make a big play. Or I'm sorry, is it Trevor? I said Travis. Is it Trevor? What is that Etienne brother's name?
I'm not sure. That sounds right.
Little Etienne, whatever his first name is, I'm sorry. Don't let him get out in the open. Same thing with Ricky Purcell. He can hurt you. Contain those two guys, and if your defense plays well, you have a good chance to win. Key number three is a guy I talked about a lot. Hated on him a lot this week earlier. Joe Milton. Joe Milton has struggled at times just throughout his career. Same thing Jordan said about Graham Mertz. He is who he is at this point. You got to hope you get the good version of him. And if you do, you win the game. If you get the average or below version of him, I think it's close, and you could lose the game. With all that being said, Tennessee is 11-4 in their last 15 against the spread. Florida is 1-4 in their last 5 against the spread. When you run this on a computer model, it says Tennessee has a 63% chance to win. And I would say that's probably about right. If you ask me, I would say it's around 60-40. The computer model also says predicted score based off information, 33-25. UT wins, and UT would cover the spread, the 7.5. I went with the numbers the last 2 weeks. I'm not going with them again. Give me the Gators in the swamp. Matt O'Neill, this is for you. Matt O'Neill, this is for you.
Listen to the pandering. Listen to the pandering.
Billy, give me the Gators. Give me Billy Napier. Give me Sunbelt Billy, whatever you want to call him. Give me Ricky Purcell, starting at the University of Tennessee or something like that, Britt. I want the Gators. Gators 31, Vols 30. It's a close one. Florida wins late. There it is.
I would like to up my confidence to about 90%.
Britt ups his confidence. I fully, by the way, the prediction on my sheet, just so everyone knows where my head was at before we started recording this podcast, was Vols. My score prediction on the sheet is a Vols win by 10. But Britt got a little too homerish in this podcast, so I had to put on the hater shade glasses and get right and pick the Gators.
No, I see the hate. I saw the pandering. I heard you read all the models say Tennessee's going to win, but I picked the Gators because Matt O'Neill. Like that was some great radio.
Matt is my boy. He's also a huge Gators fan, so did want to shout him out as I picked the Gators. There it is. I mean, Tennessee, Florida, Vanderbilt, UNLV laid out on a platter. We tell you how we feel. Now it's time for us to simply make you some money. We are going to make you some money this weekend. I was 4 for 5 last week. Britt was 3 for 5 last week. So I'm hitting at 70% right now. Britt is a little bit low me at 60%. So still hitting on more than we're missing. Trust us. All right, we're going to let special guest, the soon-to-be father, Jordan Craighead, give us those picks, baby.
All right. When I say these picks, -1, hammer them. All right. Kansas State, -3.5 at Mizzou. Mizzou's terrible.
Oh.
Mizzou's terrible. Terrible. Hammer. Pitt, West Virginia. West Virginia's a 1-point favorite. I've got them. Don't hammer that one. I'm not confident.
Okay.
TCU minus 7.5 at Houston. I don't think TCU's that good. Give me Houston.
Oh,
LSU minus 9.5 at Mississippi State. LSU's going to kill them. Hammer that one.
okay.
Vandy minus 4.5 at UNLV. Give me Vandy and hammer that as well.
Guys, betting the doors. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him, people. It cost me so much money. Don't bet on the doors. Oh, golly.
4.5. 4.5.
I know, man.
They're-
4.5. They got to cover 4.5, man. Golly, they should, but we'll see. Britt, man, go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
All right. These are from DraftKings. I got them Monday morning, I believe. But I've got K-State minus 4.5 versus Missouri. Missouri's dog water. They're literally trash. I've got Akron plus 26
Literally
versus
dog
Kentucky.
water.
Akron 26 versus Kentucky. We're talking about Vanderbilt's. Vanderbilt's DC thought that they had Alabama players. That's what Mark Stoops is. He runs Kentucky like he's got Georgia's roster. Give me Akron plus 26. Texas versus Wyoming. Give me over 48.5. Give me Duke minus 18.5 versus Purple Vandy Northwestern. And give me Washington minus 16 versus Michigan State. Don't text that woman. Don't say that stuff. I like Washington minus 16.
Don't text that woman.
Yeah.
The name of this pod. Don't text that woman. All right, here's my 5. Last week, if we wouldn't have bet on the doors, we really could have done something. Anyways, first game, hammer this game. Hammer this game. The spread right now is at like 1.5, 2.5, depending on what site you're on. This team is going to blow the other team out. Syracuse at Purdue. Purdue sucks. Okay, Purdue is garbage, and Syracuse is a top 10 team on both sides in offensive and defensive efficiency right now. Give me Syracuse, go orange or something like that, whatever the hell they say. Syracuse -1 is what I have. That's what I got in at. Next game, over 54.5 for Vanderbilt at UNLV. I think they will score more points than that. I think Vanderbilt scores in the 30s and UNLV somewhere in the 24 to low, maybe 31 range. So I like the over 54.5 there. Army plays UTSA. UTSA is pretty good. The spread I got in at -4.5. Took the alternate spread there on that one. So UTSA -4.5. That is a 3-point difference from the actual spread. I don't like having the touchdown, so just go below it wherever you go.
Kind of want to dispute that, but okay.
Want to dispute that one? We can change that one if you want me to.
We'll move. We'll move forward.
I have Navy and Memphis. Also another alternate spread. Get underneath that 10-point mark. Memphis -9. Memphis -9 against Navy, and that is on Thursday night. So if you're gonna get in right now as soon as you hear this pod. Last game on the spreadsheet. Okay. Florida, Tennessee, Florida plus 10.5. Get the extra points. Right when I got in, it was at +8, and I took the 2.5 extra points to get to 10 on another alternate spread. Listen, on these alternate spreads, I just look at the numbers and see what number I feel comfortable with. I encourage you to do the same. It's really helped me in betting, at least so far this year. So just get those extra points. That's a 5-pick parlay. I'll put my own money on it. $20 pays out $180. So we're gonna try to get that bread. If you want something else to bet on, I am gonna say something a little bit crazy. Go alternate spread. This is something to hammer. I already hammered it. Alternate spread, take Vanderbilt -6.5, just under the touchdown, and hammer that bad boy. You get it to like +195. Go hammer that thing. After I said don't bet on the doors.
I would like to question alternate spreads moving forward. I'm not a fan.
Alternate spreads do several things, ladies and gentlemen. What they do is they make you more money and you get to bet smarter. That's what they do for you.
And while I agree with that, I think if we're competing, if we're going to be fair, I think we should just do the line. Where's the line? I'm trying to be a man.
Where's the line is wherever I want it to be.
Okay, that's it. Tennessee will beat Florida Saturday night.
It's going to be a close game, I think. This game comes down to which team's better under pressure. I think. I think it's a touchdown game. That's why I like the 10.5 for Florida. You get there, I feel good about it. The numbers say it's like an 8-7 point game, depending on what model you're looking at. So get in right there. It's smart, it's safe. I don't think UT wins by more than 10, no matter what. So get in, bet it. It's safe. Yep, Gators win.
Gators win. Watching Vanderbilt too long, my friend.
Since he said the Vols win, I guess I gotta go. He said I've been.
This is where you're doing the people a disservice. You're doing the people a disservice by not saying what you have written down on the paper.
That's crazy. I had the dignity. To tell them what I had written down on the paper, though, because I'm a man's man.
You had the dignity to tell everybody that you were a coward.
Man's man. My man's man. Listen. I had the courage to tell the people that I'm a menace, and the gut said take the Gators, and we're taking the Gators.
Well,
that's
what I'm saying is, there's so many times that I've picked Vanderbilt to lose going into the podcast, and once we start talking about it, I feel better about Vanderbilt. But no, if it's on that paper, that's like it's carved under the 10 Commandments. It said Vanderbilt versus Wake Forest. Wake Forest wins, so I had to say it.
And guess what?
And I was right.
And Wake Forest won.
You're proving my point. You didn't say what you had.
No, listen.
You didn't say your initial thought. You literally.
But your gut. Your gut said.
My gut said to swap and say Vandy covers.
You should have. I don't know what to tell you then. You ain't a man. You must listen to your gut. Your gut's better than that computer. I'm gonna say that.
No, your first instinct. Your first instinct is your gut, brother. What are you talking about? If you think of it after your first instinct, that ain't your gut.
My first instinct said Gators.
All right, we're getting off here.
Yeah, he mad. He mad.
I'm not
mad. Listen, everybody have a good weekend. I'm going to be in Vegas. I hope everybody stays safe. I'm going to try to anchor down. It's that simple. Go Raiders. More NFL talk coming soon. Tighten up, if that's your way of speaking. Go Birds. I know there's an Eagle fan that listens on this thing, so go Birds too. And last but not least, Britt, Jordan, what do y'all got to say?
Goodbye. Go Vols.
Goodbye. Anchor down, go Gators.